And a very good afternoon, Facebook Live, Twitter, and all sorts of other avenues of social media. Loz here. First of a new series, In the Thick of It, with Lawrie and
Bernie.
Loz and Bernie. And we put a lot of preparation into this. We do a few Facebook chats the last few years, but we're going to get properly done and do it seriously this year. Bern, a bit of fun on a Saturday. We're just here mucking around and just looking to the crossover of the seasons with the cricket's nearly done and the footy's just about upon us.
Yeah, it'll be really good, this segment for people to follow. We just want to give you a bit of insight on the new 6-6 rule this year, and we'll chat a bit about cricket as well with you, Loz.
I might lead it off. BBL final last week, Bern. I don't know if you caught the action, but the Renegades got the Chockies, only got 145, and then the Stars were cruising along very, very nicely, and it was unbelievable that they lost 7 for 19 and got rolled, and nothing like Eddie Maguire's team getting rolled twice in 6 months.
That's right. Yeah, Eddie was cut up, wasn't he? He's copped it bad in 2 grand finals, but anyway, he'll move on. He'll get there.
As far as the tests go, I thought, without Steve Smith and David Warner, the boys did pretty well. Had a great win in the Perth Test match. Matched them pretty closely in the ODIs and the T20s. Obviously, South Africa did well earlier in the series. And then Sri Lanka was a pretty good performance against a pretty weak side. Although, if you look at how they played against South Africa the last 2 weeks, we've played them into a bit of form. But good to see blokes like Travis Head, Joe Burns get centuries. Young Curtis Patterson peeled off 100 as well. They could have been out first ball. All the boys that got the tons had a little bit of luck along the way. So hopefully it'll put us in good stead for the Ashes, Burn, when we'll be in the thick of footy season. And of course, with footy season, mate, we've got this new rule that you're all over. I've seen a couple of your notes and you've gone through it very thoroughly in the sense that this 6-6-6 rule, it's really going to make things change in the Aussie rules.
Yeah, look, I think it will, Lawrie. I think we're going to evolve back to the game that everyone loves, where there's more space. Just initially, I think what'll happen at the centre bounces, the coaches won't be able to put players behind the play at all, and the wingmen will have to stay on the wing. So it's going to create a lot more direct scoring. There'll be a lot more midfielders kicking goals on the run, and similarly, this is going to put a lot of pressure on how long midfielders can stay out there, because they're going to be burning the fuel at both ways, because you're going to be able to go long into your tall forwards. And this is going to put backlines under a lot of pressure, because there's not much a backman can do these days apart from a clean spoil. They can't have their hands in their back at all. So tall forwards are going to come right back into the game. I'm not so sure whether the likes of Richmond that had that small forward line working. I think those days will be gone with this 6-6-6. Yeah.
So while we're in the thick of it, the centre bounce, just go through that again. And that was news to me. We're just having a bit of a pre-chat about. I didn't realise the wingmen aren't allowed to stand on the back of the centre square, and that's just part of the new setup, is it?
That is, yeah. You've got to have the 6-6. You can't guard from behind the centre square at all. After the ball's bounced, you can get to where you want to go. And a lot of clubs have got really good ruckmen. I mean, they'll win it out of the middle and then perhaps go round behind it in the centre square, But if you've got room, I think they'll attack the goal face all the time. And what this will do is that good sides playing each other, just say Hawthorn Sydney in a game, for example, you could be 6 or 7 goals up at 3/4 time and you are not safe at all. But similarly, if Hawthorn are playing the Suns or whatever, I mean, clobberings are going to come. They're going to come and there are going to be some really big scores kicked, because the clubs that rely on putting players behind the ball to keep them in the game can no longer do that.
So just on the key forward side of it, while we're in the thick of it, Ben, you're going to see blokes like Riewoldt and some of these other very good forwards back up around the 90, 100 goal mark. Are we prepared to tip that at this point?
Oh, look, I think it could happen, yeah, for sure. I mean, Franklin, Riewoldt, those sort of guys, Hogan going to Fremantle. I mean, they've drafted ahead of this, because there was talk about they were going to do it, and the Smarties have drafted for it. So, the tall forwards are right back in the game. And I think with ruckman, I would be prepared to say next year's draft, if you're a ruckman, I reckon 5 of them will go in the top 15. People will be after ruckman.
And that's the two things we love about footy. Great big men, and we love great forwards. I remember as a kid, in the 90s, playing a bit of country footy, and you go in on a Saturday night and you wanted to know how many Ablett kicked, how many Dunstall kicked, how many, all those great forwards, your Locketts, your Modras. And if we can get back to a bit of that style of football, that can't be a bad thing, surely.
Oh, no, that's for sure. I think the AFL, mean, they're there to govern the game for the people, and sometimes the coaches take the game away from the people because they're employed to win at all costs. But the game has, over the last 5 or 6 years, it's got a little better. But 6 years ago, I mean, you could be in a hotel and people weren't even watching the football because it was just block up, and it's just not rewarding for people to pay the money and go and watch.
And the other thing too is we want Australian rules to go back to a game, I reckon, that all sizes of players can play, not just those sort of 6'1" guys that can run like the wind. We want the big sort of dinosaurs, your Justin Maddens, your Sean Wrens, to reintegrate back into the game, as well as those key forwards, don't we?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, there's still room for the small forwards, the crumbing small forwards. It's just that they won't be initially kicking the ball to them. It'll be going to the tall contests, and the crumbs are the crumbs, as they were back in the day.
There's a lot of clever coaches out there, Bernie. Who are the coaches that you're tipping might be able to pick these things up quicker than others, perhaps?
Look, I think Clarkson and Goodwin are both really good at centre bounce stuff. Both really high educated coaches. I think they'll be the two that'll be in front of the pack. And
we'll talk about the midfielders. There's going to be more running. Can you just explain that a little bit in terms of why that might be the case?
Well, because of the amount of time you'll be able to get out of the middle now, and people won't be blocking up the centre square, they will be able to get out of there and run hard and deliver the ball into the forward line. But similarly, if a side's going against you, just say it's Carlton and Hawthorn, Carlton get the ball, they go into the forward line, and the guy kicks a point from, say, 40 metres out on the run. The midfielders have to take a punt on whether that ball's going to go through for a goal or a point, because if they get caught too deep, because once it's a point, the fullback doesn't have to wait for anyone anymore. He doesn't have to wait for the goal umpire to wave the flags. He doesn't have to kick it to himself. They swing back around the other way, 60-metre kick, just Brodie Smith for the sakes at the Crows.
Yep.
And it can be straight back over your head, and the midfielders are gone. So the running they're going to have to do. So the management for the midfield coaches, I mean, the gun midfielders can only last about 6 or 7 minutes now. I would think there'd be a minute taken off that.
Yeah, right. Well, that's interesting in itself because we've got the capped interchange at 120. Now, you've got a bit of theory about another term. It's an old-fashioned term, no man's land. How are you going to relate that into what you might see in the opening rounds?
Well, that no man's land is a little bit what I'm talking about there, where they do go in and the points scored. I mean, you've just got to be so careful how deep you've gone, so that there won't be spreading and as much of people go. You hear people go, get on your man, but they're not realising how much grass they've got to fill up the holes. There's going to be more and more holes, so you've got to. The understanding of the structure of the game will change because of the speed of it.
Any other thoughts on what we've got to see in the coming weeks or the early weeks? Because the pre-season competition, the proper pre-season, not the AFLX, will get underway shortly. That's going to be a bit of a testing ground for it too, isn't it?
Oh, for sure. And most clubs have been trialling it for quite some months now. And the ones with good ruckman. I mean, if your ruckman's on top, you're going to go to a long way towards winning. But if just say that Grundy has a bad day for Collingwood and gets injured or whatever, I mean, you're going to be in big trouble because the centre bounce now is the real old centre bounce. If you win it, you're in control. Yeah, well, it was great old days, those centre clearances straight down to the full forward goal, and that's what people want to see, I think. Yeah, for sure. And like you say, I think we will get back to the Franklins and those guys, kicking 100 goals. Kicking some big numbers. Yeah, and I think the crowds will build. I think everyone will be happy. The coaches won't, because they've lost a tool in their bag. When they're in trouble, they can swing them behind. Well, you won't be doing that anymore. Bern, any other thoughts? Another one a week or two with this sort of chit-chat on Facebook and various social medias. Anything else you want to just bring up for the time being on our first little chat in the thick of it? No, look, I think Fremantle may improve sharply. I mean, a lot of people get a bit sick of Ross Lyon, but I think he's a clever cat. I mean, he's always had his sides playing with the brakes on, but I think he'll coach totally different now, and with Hogan and that side, whatever. I think Fremantle will shoot up pretty quickly. Collingwood will still be good. I would imagine Melbourne wouldn't fall off too far. West Coast still be all right. West Coast will be there. Nat and Nui's back. You got. It's, with the Port and the Crows, I mean, they should be both okay. I mean, they've got tall forwards, but I'm not sure where their numbers are, in the comp of how many marks they actually take in 1-on-3s, Jenkins and okay. And similarly with the big fella at Portman, if he misses the first 3 or whatever, Dixon, you could be in a whole lot of pain if it's nice going deep, but if they don't catch it, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, the Hawks play a bit like that, go inside 55 times for 8 goals. Bern, well done. A good start to our little effort with the old podcasting over the coming football season. And well, thanks for watching, and we'll do it all again very soon. But thanks for your viewership, as Gilly might say, and we might go and have a beer. It's a hot day.
My word, yeah. Keep us in mind. Give us your point of view.
Cheers.